our golden years. A time to put our feet up and enjoy the fruits of a lifetime of work.
This will change your luck.
Some elderly folk need assistance to help get them through the day. But not all caregivers have a tender heart. San Diego, California, 2010.
She sleeps most of the time now.
Gerald and Carolyn Rayborn believe they've been delivered an angel
Got a new girl.
in the form of 44-year-old palliative caregiver Denise Goodwin.
Have you cared for many people?
Oh, yes, lots of people.
She was a trustworthy, caring, giving,
Got my diploma.
honest, church-going, reliable, dependable mother and trustee.
Certificate accreditation trustee diploma.
People saw her as a wholesome, bubbly country girl.
I love what I do.
To 88-year-old Gerald, Denise is a godsend. Carolyn is in the final stages of lung cancer, and he struggles to care for her alone.
She was very sick. Gerald took very good care of his ailing wife.
Makes me feel great to think that I can help people like yourselves.
Denise was there to make sure the house was running and make sure bills were paid.
She was a shoulder to cry on. She was there to help him in his hour of need.
Hello. Hello.
Denise doesn't just care for Carolyn,
Well, because I'm going to get you out of the house.
she becomes a valued companion for Gerald.
Denise went out of her way to befriend and be close to Gerald Rayborn.
I'm going to take you out on the town. Have fun.
She took Gerald places, like to the bank, to the store.
Gerald, you need to sign this, please.
As an accredited trustee, Denise is qualified to assist Gerald with his finances. Glad of the help, he makes her a signatory for his bank accounts.
Gerald Rayborn thought that Denise Goodwin was just wonderful.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Someone he could trust to help with his financial affairs.
Gerald asked me to see about getting Carolyn's name off the joint account.
Some of Gerald's friends aren't so sure.
Why is she on the phone to your bank?
I told you, she's my angel.
He thought that she was his angel.
Don't worry.
You sure?
I'm sure.
On the other side of the country, 48-year-old Geraldine Parrish may not be a financial angel, but she gives valuable spiritual advice. And her clients are lining up.
She lived a luxurious lifestyle. She had a nice house. She always ate at the best restaurants.
She's an inspiration to her niece, 18-year-old Renee Burns.
You're such cool stuff.
I know how to get what I want.
Geraldine went to great lengths to present herself as very fashionable, and I think Renee saw that as an attractive thing.
Renee soon learns the dark secret of Geraldine's success.
Geraldine was a street preacher, and what she would do is convince people to give her money so their prayers could be answered.
You don't want bad luck, do you?
She has everyone convinced she has voodoo powers.
She had a way of talking them into doing anything. She would cure people, she would take hexes off of them, she'd put hexes on them.
But Geraldine has a new business plan.
Have you thought about my proposal? Good.
She signs up dozens of friends and relatives for life insurance, naming herself as the beneficiary.
This will change your luck. Wait, one more.
She would manipulate people
Why do I need to do this?
I'm doing you a favor.
and have them do whatever she had needed them to do.
Geraldine enlists a business partner for her new venture,
Have a seat.
20-year-old Edwin Gordon.
And this guy is a loser with a capital L.
You know what you're here for, right?
He's a sociopath, drug user, drunk, but he will do anything Geraldine says.
I don't want anyone to know.
They won't.
Deal.
Done.
Edwin's first assignment is Geraldine's brother-in-law, Frank Ross.
She had an insurance policy on Mr. Ross. Frank worked in a gas station not far from where they lived, and as Frank is going to work,
Yo.
he just walks up on him and shoots him, kills him.
They have no suspects, no leads to go on. Who killed this guy?
No indication at that time that Geraldine's involved in any way.
No one saw you?
I know what I'm doing.
Geraldine had a plan, and she wasn't stupid by any means.
So where's my money?
You'll get paid when I get the insurance money.
And so begins Geraldine's lucrative new career as a serial killer.
She had a whole binder full of policies that she could pick and choose from.
We refer to them as future homicides. That's where she had them marked, and if she needed money, she would take the next one in line.
In San Diego, California, Denise Goodwin is also working on a secret business plan. She's convinced Gerald Rayborn she's a gift from heaven. But Denise is no angel.
Denise was cunning and manipulative. She knew exactly what she was doing.
She had been planning to steal from someone just like Gerald Rayborn long before she even stepped foot in his home.
When Gerald's wife, Carolyn, succumbs to cancer, he becomes even more reliant on Denise. But on that very day, she transfers $44,000 from Carolyn's account. Then, over the next 3 weeks, Denise takes everything.
She had the bank accounts, got the power to act on his behalf without his say-so any longer. She had complete control.
Concerned neighbors call in Adult Protective Services.
Can I help you? We need to speak to Gerald Radborn.
But Gerald assures them he's in good hands.
Can I help you?
We just want to check on you and make sure you are okay.
Fine. Thanks to my angel.
Okay.
The only person left that is going to soon discover that she's taking some of his money is Gerald Rayborn.
But just weeks after his wife's death, Gerald suddenly leaves town.
Oh no, Gerald has met someone and they're off in Las Vegas.
Denise breaks the news to his family.
Denise explained that he had met someone new.
Yeah.
He had run away with a woman named Carmen and wanted to be left alone.
Oh, he's very happy.
Jerry would eventually call them when he saw fit, when he was ready to do so.
Okay, yeah. If I hear from him, I'll definitely let him know.
4 months go by without any contact.
Denise said that Gerald and his new wife were in Mexico. That, of course, again, seems suspicious to the family members. They didn't think that he would take off and run to another country.
Gerald misses family celebrations, including his daughter's birthday.
I guess the breaking point for her was when she didn't get the birthday card that she got every year of her life that her father never missed.
She files a missing persons report. No one has spoken to Gerald since October 21st, 2010.
Gerald Rayborn ceased to exist. He was erased that day.
In Baltimore, Maryland, making people disappear is Geraldine Parrish's specialty. Her niece Renee is watching and learning.
And Renee wants to know, how can I get rich like you without working? So Geraldine takes her in under her wing, and she says, I have a new victim.
Oh, yeah. Surprise.
48-year-old Albert Robinson is one of Geraldine's 8 husbands.
You've always been my favorite husband. Come on over here and get in.
And Albert was kind of a street guy, alcoholic who would basically do anything for booze. They say, hey, let's go out drinking.
They got him in the car and they had bought some alcohol. He drank pretty heavily. He was very drunk.
I'm busting.
Let's get you away from the ladies now.
Yeah, all right.
Geraldine picked on the most vulnerable. Albert Robinson was certainly the most vulnerable.
They take him over to the bushes and kills him.
Albert is found on the train tracks. Geraldine gets the $10,000 check in the mail. She pays her accomplices. Life goes on.
For Geraldine, people are investments. And when the time is right, she cashes them in.
It's done.
You learning?
With Geraldine, it was just what was best at the time, what was the easiest thing at the time. She was very calculated.
Her next target is very close to home. Her housekeeper, Helen Wright.
Poor Helen Wright never knew what hit her, and she was living under the same roof.
Miss Wright had come into some money a couple of months before her murder. One night, Geraldine suggested they go to the Chinese store to buy some food.
But you know what? Helen never comes back because she is met with a bullet to the back of the head.
Even after the execution of Geraldine's own housekeeper, the police don't link the murders.
And that murder looked like it was a random act. Maybe a robbery went bad, they didn't get anything.
Her body is found right around the corner from Geraldine's house. All this goes on, and nobody notices that a serial killer is running around town, killing people and collecting their life insurance.
In San Diego, Denise Goodwin also manages to avoid suspicion after the disappearance of 88-year-old Gerald Rayborn. Her deadly plan to get rich quick begins a year earlier as she observes her mother's work.
That's one of the ethical standards, and we'll go into that more later on in the course.
There's so many rules.
Denise's mom is a fully qualified trustee for the elderly. But Denise takes a shortcut to accreditation.
Denise Goodwin took those diplomas and forged her name on them, and then was able to use those diplomas to represent that she had actually gone through the courses that her mother had attended.
In 2009,
We throw chicken?
her fake credentials land her a job as sole caregiver
How about some carrot? You like carrot? Yeah?
to 95-year-old dementia patient Seward Norris.
Oh, this looks delicious.
When Denise was put in charge of Mr. Norris's health care, she won the lottery.
Seward, I have some paperwork for you to sign for me. It's just a little document, and I'm going to take care of the rest, okay?
She dupes Seward into giving her financial authority and channels $44,000 into her own account.
Mr. Norris had a number of old life insurance policies, and what Denise Goodwin did is she created the surrender forms with Mr. Norris's signature on it.
Very well done.
And that resulted in a $44,000 payout from the life insurance company. She used it to buy an off-road vehicle, to pay off her pickup truck. Pay her taxes, to pay her credit card bills. Within about 3 weeks, the $44,000 was gone.
By the time Seward Norris passes away in June 2010, Denise has a new direction in life, preying on the elderly.
Denise saw how easy it was to scam and cheat an old and sick person.
Her whole goal was to find assets that she could use to buy rental properties that would allow her not to have to work any longer.
Just 3 months later, she moves in on her new victims.
Someone to see you.
Oh, hi, I'm Denise.
Gerald and Carolyn Rayborn.
The Rayburns were sitting ducks for someone like Denise.
Targeting trusting strangers is one thing. But by November 1987, Geraldine Parrish has sacrificed 4 of her own family and friends for her love of money. And she's not done yet.
This time she goes after her own niece, Dolly. She convinces Dolly to sign over a $12,000 life insurance policy.
27-year-old Dolly Brown has a drug habit.
Get the door.
And Geraldine is tired of her niece asking for money.
Dolly Brown, she must have thought was just as vulnerable, being addicted to drugs and being dependable on her to a certain degree.
And so what happens? She tells Ed when you go in the house and you blow him away.
You're Ed, right?
Yeah.
Her boyfriend, 37-year-old Ronald Mitchner, is also in the firing line.
So what do you want?
Edwin shoots her boyfriend, kills him.
No, please.
He shoots
please.
Dolly,
Please don't.
ends up hitting her 4 times in the head.
That murder looked like Mr. Mitchner was the intended victim, and it may have been a drug deal going bad, and Dolly was just the bystander, when actually Dolly was the intended victim because the insurance policy was on her.
But Dolly lives.
She survives, but never accuses Geraldine.
They were afraid of her. People in the neighborhood knew these people were dying, and the other people were just scared to death of her, so nobody really told.
Geraldine wanted to project that she was this dark priestess voodoo who could do anything. But what she was the embodiment of evil. That's what she was.
Police in San Diego also lack solid evidence against Denise Goodwin in the disappearance of Gerald Rayborn.
Denise was probably feeling pretty comfortable and pretty good that she'd gotten away with it.
We don't have a crime scene. We have no evidence of any harm actually being inflicted on Gerald Rayborn. His body has never been found. She was able to successfully dispose of all evidence of what happened to Gerald Rayborn.
With Gerald out of the way, Denise cashes in his assets and puts the house on the market.
The residence is sold, and Denise Goodwin is paid $350,000 in a check made out to her as trustee.
In all, she steals $600,000 and uses it to buy investment properties.
So she's pretty much used all of Gerald Rayborn's money to create the little rental empire that she wanted.
There's just one thing Denise hasn't counted on: bank security.
Law enforcement, investigators, banks, they can follow the money. Wire transfers are traceable.
Denise is arrested as she tries to leave the country.
She was found boarding an airplane headed off to what she told police was a European vacation.
To this day, Denise hasn't admitted to Gerald's murder.
He did die somehow at the hands of Denise Goodwin. She had reason to kill him. She had motive.
Whether he was hit over the head, strangled, suffocated, poisoned, he died. And his remains have been successfully disposed of.
She's convicted of first-degree murder and fraud against the Rayborns and Seward Norris. In 2014, Denise Goodwin is sentenced to life with no chance of parole.
Denise was no different than any other psychopath in that she thought she could cover everything up and lie her way out of it.
Geraldine Parrish believes she's untouchable too, until a criminal rival is arrested and spills the whole gory story.
And he says to us that Edwin Gordon has been killing people for Geraldine Parrish for years. You didn't know that? And we're like, no, we didn't know that. So that's when he tells us about the Helen Wright murder and the Frank Ross murder and the Albert Robinson murder.
But it was also almost staggering to believe that she could be involved in something like this, organize something like this, and keep it running over a period of 4 years.
Finally, Geraldine is out of business.
What do you know about Albert Robertson's murder?
But she attempts to use her voodoo reputation to keep out of jail.
Meow? Sit back down.
She was a good actor. She put on an act of not having stability in her brain, but really she knew what she was doing. She crawled around on the floor and got underneath the table, made like she was trying to hide from some evil demon, and
Come on, lady, give me a...
She certainly went through the full spectrum of behavior.
Ma'am, get back to your chair.
She was quirky, to say the least.
You're under arrest. Cover.
In 1989, Geraldine Parrish faces justice for the first of her many victims, Albert Robinson. She's sentenced to life without parole. A month later, she pleads guilty to 3 more murders and 3 attempted murders.
and she ended up getting 6 consecutive life sentences on top of the first life sentence that she got.
In 2004, at the age of 68, Geraldine dies behind bars.
She had no remorse for any of her victims, husbands, family members, friends. It didn't matter.
Geraldine, you could say she was a self-made entrepreneur. Her business? Serial murder.
If a con artist is doing a good job,
Thank you, dear.
their victim will never know they've been robbed. By the time the crime's discovered,
No.
the money's long gone.
There's some presents for you, too.
Or the victim
Help, please!
is already dead. In the retirement community of Barefoot Bay, Florida, 35-year-old Jennifer Trent and her young son don't fit the demographic.
Jennifer was a single mom. She had a 7-year-old son, but she was unable to provide him with much of a home.
Doris, look.
That's very good.
But that's a blessing for 69-year-old resident Doris Johnston.
Doris got something out of the relationship.
That's very good.
And that was companionship.
Okay, pack up your stuff, Demolition Man.
Jennifer and her son filled a void in Doris's life.
Thank you, dear.
Over time, Jennifer's occasional visits to help with odd jobs
Okay, say bye.
become something deeper for Doris.
It has been my observation that as people get older, it's like a part of their brain tells them, you can trust everyone.
You be a good boy for your mom. And I'll make you some of those peanut butter cookies tomorrow, okay?
And wanting to recreate a happy time that they've had in their past.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Trouble at home?
I can't go back there.
So, when Jennifer faces life on the streets after a terrible argument with her father,
I don't know what to do.
it's Doris's turn to help.
Stay here. Both of you.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you.
She made an incredible offer that Jennifer and her son could live rent-free. It was a gift from heaven.
The trio become a happy family.
Merry Christmas.
I think that probably brought out the grandmother in her.
Oh. That looks lovely on you.
I think it was one of the situations where it gave her energy and kind of gave her a purpose.
Merry Christmas. Taxi's here. Don't have too much fun while I'm gone.
Doris's real family live out of state. When it comes time to visit them, Jennifer and her son are left home alone.
Okay, this is it.
Say goodbye.
In her heart, she must have felt she could trust Jennifer to stay at her home
Behave yourself.
See you in a couple of months.
without her being present.
The minute Doris is out the door, Jennifer lets loose.
Hi.
Hey. How are you?
For Jennifer, that was like being given the keys to the castle.
She had the run of the house, the run of the finances, and it was simply a situation where she became Doris Johnson.
A whole new life is exactly what newly widowed Dorothea Waddingham is wishing for in Nottingham, England in the 1930s.
After Dorothea's husband died, she'd have been in quite a difficult situation with 3 small children to bring up.
"39-year-old Ronald Sullivan offers the chance of a fresh start.
Ronald was a decorated World War I veteran who'd won medals for gallantry.
Ronald, how kind of you to come.
How are you?
Friendship turns to love.
Better for seeing you.
And Ronald moves in.
She formed a relationship with Ronald Sullivan. They had a further 2 children, but they never did marry.
But they can never seem to get ahead.
You okay?
Just.
So there were 5 children in the family by 1935. The oldest was 10, and the newest had only just been born. It was no doubt a considerable financial strain to bring up these children.
Found anything?
I should have stayed in the army.
There's not much work for an ex-soldier in the 1930s.
I've got an idea that I think will make us a lot of money.
How?
Leave that to Nurse Dorothea.
Dorothea hits on a lucrative idea of running a nursing home.
They had a big home, so she decided to take in some elderly sick people and care for them.
There's just one problem.
Sugar?
She has no medical qualifications. So she lies to authorities.
Nurse Waddingham,
Have you ever worked in a nursing home?
Yes, I have. I think caring for the elderly is my calling.
Even though she passed herself off as Nurse Waddingham, she was certainly never qualified as a nurse.
But the new enterprise is quickly approved and welcomes its first clients, 87-year-old Louisa Bagley and her daughter Ada. Dorothea is in business, but it's not very lucrative.
Her and Ronald were getting just 30 shillings a week.
It's only half the average weekly wage.
Both mother and daughter were very frail and needed round-the-clock attention.
Ada was 50 years old and had a disease described as creeping paralysis.
I hope you're comfortable here.
I'm pleased we're here together.
In those days, creeping paralysis referred to multiple sclerosis.
It means both Dorothea's patients are labor-intensive.
They would be receiving medications, they would need feeding, cooking, etc.
What?
No, I'm exhausted.
I don't know how aware Dorothea was initially of how much care the Bagleys would need, but it soon became clear that it was a great deal more than she thought it was worth.
Dorothea needed money. Taking care of these two elderly women was much harder than she thought.
Dorothea, can you come here, please? I'm coming!
This is not the life Dorothea has planned. She decides to make some adjustments.
Is something wrong? You and your mother will have to leave.
No. Why?
You require too much care. I'm arranging for you to go to a workhouse.
Workhouses were fairly harsh places where you expected to work for your living. Food was fairly meagre.
No, please, no. Mum won't survive. I feel I won't either.
Being turned out of your home is something Jennifer Trent knows all too well. But she never tells Doris the real reason her father wanted her gone.
He noticed the money was missing. He noticed that he'd give her checks to pay bills. They weren't being paid. He noticed that his own money was missing.
Now Jennifer has a new source of spending money.
She was having a ball. She was doing whatever she wanted with that seemingly unlimited amount of financial freedom.
She and boyfriend Richard move into Doris's bedroom.
Santa's been good this year.
That's how psychopaths think. That's my money in your wallet.
There's some presents for you, too.
Jennifer quickly racks up bills for almost $15,000. But unfortunately for her, this doesn't go unnoticed by Doris's bank.
No. That much? Well, thank you for letting me know.
And the gentleman's having a conversation with Doris regarding all these charges, which she's denying, and that's happening in Florida.
Someone's been using my credit card.
I knew you couldn't trust that woman.
It's not Jennifer. She wouldn't do that.
Doris did not want to believe she could be wrong about Jennifer.
Mom, just cancel the card, okay?
The party's over for Jennifer.
Doris was going to be coming home.
It's coming to a head. I think the boiling point is coming.
Unfulfilled greed often reaches boiling point. Dorothea Waddingham hits hers when her hard work goes unrewarded. She threatens to send her frail patients to a workhouse.
No, please, no.
Well, there may be a way you can stay.
Dorothea will allow mother and daughter to stay if Ada changes her will.
Mrs. Bagley, so good to see you again. And how are you, Ada?
I'm fine, thank you.
On May 4th, Ada summoned her solicitor and said she wanted to change her will.
Are you sure about this?
Absolutely.
Well, in that case, I just need you to read through it and make sure everything's in order.
She would leave about £1,600 to Ronald and Dorothea on the condition that they looked after her and her mother for the rest of their lives.
In Louise's case, that turns out to be just 8 days.
Mother? Mother?
Louisa's death was officially attributed to old age.
Mummy, are you all right?
Oh, Mom! Help, please! Please, somebody help me!
I'm sorry, Ada.
The death of 87-year-old Louisa Bagley halves Dorothea's workload. And within months, she loses her second patient.
Dr. Mansfield, it's Nurse Waddingham. Ada's very ill. Please come quickly.
Ada was only 50 years old. She was not expected to die. She was still doing well. Her physician thought that death was not imminent.
I'm afraid she's gone.
What happened?
I think it was a stroke.
There was nothing to suggest that Ada had died of anything else.
She came in with her mother, who died recently.
That was good enough for him, so that's what he recorded on the death certificate.
Before Ada's death, Dorothea insists on one final adjustment to the will: a request for cremation.
Dorothea knew that if Ada died and was cremated, there would be no evidence left. Nobody would suspect morphine poisoning.
But the local coroner smells a rat.
When the residents of a nursing home change their will to benefit the person who owns the nursing home, it always raises suspicion.
Once suspicions are aroused, they're hard to ignore. And they hang in the air when Doris returns to Barefoot Bay to confront her houseguest.
Hey, I said time for bed 5 minutes ago. Now!
This is where it came to head, where Doris challenged her. She's realizing how much money is being spent, where this money has gone, and realizing that Jennifer's been deceptive.
Night-night, Doris. What's up?
I need to talk with you.
Sure.
It's about my credit card. While I was away, someone was using it.
Are you accusing me of stealing? Let go of my arm. After everything that I've done for you.
Let go of my arm!
No!
Jennifer attacks Doris, and Doris is standing up because she's trying to protect herself. She's got some bruising that's on the back of her hand. And at some point, she goes to the ground.
And Doris ended up with a head injury. It was not an accident that Doris got hurt. Jennifer didn't want her around anymore.
And at some point, Doris becomes unconscious.
Jennifer drags Doris to the laundry area outside of her home and just leaves her there.
This was in January, and in Florida, the temperatures around that time of year were in the 50s.
The cold brings Doris back from the brink. She's still alive. But rather than finish the job, Jennifer decides to let nature take its course, expecting Doris to die within hours.
She continued to go in that room. It was business as usual as Doris laid right there on the floor, not dead.
Hours turn into days.
Jennifer even went to the laundry area to wash clothes with Doris on the floor, struggling to breathe.
Hurry up and die, you old bag.
Someone that has been kind, open arms, open heart. And this is what you've done to this person.
As Doris clings to life, Jennifer buys her a plane ticket to Chicago.
Jennifer tried to be clever and created many ruses to make it look like Doris was in Chicago and she was in contact with Doris,
while finding new ways to spend Doris's money.
Stop. I've got something I want to ask you.
Sure.
Will you be my husband?
Hell yes.
It's even an engagement ring. So she felt that this was her money to do with what she wanted to do with it.
She bought her son an Xbox and her boyfriend an airplane ticket with Doris's credit card.
Seriously?
Anything for my future husband.
Oh, fine.
Jennifer's self-esteem was tied to having things that she could buy and a man in her bed.
Everything is going to plan, except for one thing. After 4 days, Doris is still alive in the laundry. Jennifer can't wait any longer.
She grabbed a plastic bag and essentially wrapped it around her head and suffocated her.
Let me in!
No! Don't play up in the house!
But by this time, Doris's family is concerned. They don't believe she's taken a trip. And on January 22nd, 2015, they asked the police to check on her welfare.
A very observant cop noticed some things just weren't right.
He's walking around. He's seeing a lot of receipts. He's seeing an Xbox. He's seeing a TV.
And what's out here?
It's the laundry shed. She doesn't let anyone go in there.
Well, that sent up a pretty large red flag.
I'll need to have a look.
He looks through the window, and then he sees a silhouette of a body.
Jennifer denies all knowledge of Doris's death and pleads not guilty to murder.
To this day, she has not confessed.
I don't think she ever felt any guilt.
In 2017, Jennifer Rose Trent is convicted of first-degree murder, organized fraud, and using the identity of a deceased person. Her sentence, life in prison, no chance of parole.
Jennifer was desperate to create the life she'd been dreaming about. A ring on her finger, a husband, a place to live. It meant the world to her, and she wasn't gonna let it go. She had to have those things, and she was willing to kill for it.
Dorothea Waddingham's treacherous financial plan is also about to be exposed. After Ada's death, the coroner insists on an autopsy.
This examination revealed that Ada had in fact been poisoned.
The physician who did the autopsy found more than 3 grains of morphine in her stomach. So this was a toxic, lethal overdose.
Thank you, Dorothea.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
As a result of that, it was decided that Louisa's body should also be exhumed and a post-mortem made.
I cooked one of your favorites. Oh, pork. Oh, yum.
When Ada's mother, Louisa, was exhumed, they found elevated levels of morphine in most of her organs. She didn't die of natural disease. She died of a morphine overdose.
To make her fortune, Dorothea threatens her patients with the workhouse. But her greed is so great, she can't wait until they die to claim it.
She saw that £1,600 as being a nest egg that would keep her going for the rest of her life.
Dorothea Waddingham is convicted of 2 counts of murder. She's sentenced to death, and in 1936 is hanged.
Dorothea got greedy. She got impatient. She wanted her money, and she didn't want to care for those ladies.